Dust and Embers is the debut full-length album from Voidescent, and this is a Sevilla, Spain-based band who we could describe as black metal, dissonant black metal, and I guess a certain modern form of orthodox black metal in some respect that is heavily atmospheric, but also very aggressive. Um, This band started as And Horde back in 2005, and they were heavily influenced by that early Orthodox black metal movement, and they've been just compared to everything from Sin Mara and Onskapt since then, particularly Countrymates Balmog and their own evolution beforehand, as well as some comparisons to Catharsis for their more bestial side, which I don't quite hear as often as others do. So you can go through Anthor's discography and see the progression of what they were doing, but they felt like it was time to take it more serious and do something a little bit more different in 2017, where they changed their name to Voidescent, and that is kind of the result we get here. They put out a 2018 mini LP, which was in a maybe a more refined style with better production values and more of an emphasis on the composition between the two guitars. It was the play of dissonant chords was without a melodic focal point, and it was not so chaotic as it was. I guess average but impressive for its time, and the major goal and the process of this record seems to have been taking that somewhere and pushing it further than they did in 2018. So they almost over deliver this record in a lot of ways by throwing quite a lot at it. And we'll cut into a song here just to get a sense of what I mean by that. You know, there are moments on this record that remind me of Svest, sort of that certain era of 2010s and late 2000s French black metal, and the sort of chaos and the bestial touch of it. And then there's other parts of this record that remind me of Urfaust, and I don't mean in a literal sense, but sort of the atmospheric layering that they were brought to the vocals and whatnot. And some of this is expected to be on the 2018 EP from this band, but a lot of it isn't so blatantly dissonant and I guess obvious with the way that it reveals its layers and its rhythms. So the design of this record and the sound design in particular unveils itself in a lot of different ways that are both obfuscated and revelatory throughout. And I didn't feel like the Necrotic Veil was a great single to really display what this record was all about, other than showing that there was a heavy amount of dissonance and a dirge-like quality to a lot of these songs, which are very persistent in their attack. The main song that really caught my ear and stuck with me was Cauldrons of Sabbath, and I think that it does take quite a while to build up, and I think that's why you wouldn't pick it for a single, because it takes about a few minutes to get going, the first half of the song, and then it reveals a different type of vocal and a more abstract construct, which really works in the full voice of the record as it sort of changes subjects throughout its overall dialogue. So there's a lot to appreciate here in the construction of this work. It does feel like they've been working up to it for 20 years in terms of where this record starts as a debut. There aren't any fickle or thoughtless pieces that were just simple experiments on here. These are very well constructed songs that are enhanced by the obscured production values and the cacophony of it all that they storm up. It works for me, but I could see why the first impression for a lot of people might be that this is kind of an average group that has sort of an orthodox or I guess that style to it. So for me, it's a high recommendation. I think that there's not a lot to articulate here because it's sort of you have to begin to use a lot of theory language that just doesn't have a lot of point in a quick review, but it's a solid record with a lot of depth to it, and I think that the curation is particularly fine. I think you can see the work that has been put into it beyond 2018, and you can tell that this is an achievement for the band in what they've been sort of idealizing for quite so long. So check it out if you're interested. It comes out tomorrow, and read my review for more